earlier this year, there was a sense that, you know what, okay, the worst of the Doge cuts are behind us now. And so, okay, the FDA will finally calm down, things will be stable again. And voila, what happened?
The huge, massive irony is this is a guy who's actually stuck in the middle and he's getting pelted by rocks from both sides.
From all sides. Trump has, of course, made it a signature policy of his administration to make weight loss drugs, GLP-1 drugs, easily available. What you don't know, that he was also talking up these drugs and, you know, trading on these to the tune of several millions, maybe hundreds of millions of dollars in terms of gains of his portfolio. Obviously, you know, Vance and others have said, you know, this is an independent thing. Mr. Trump had nothing to do with it. But again, it just seems sus, as my Gen Z children would say. Shockingly, these are being consumed not only by middle schoolers, teenagers, they are also being consumed by people with anorexia and other eating disorders, which is, I mean, it's just terrible for them.
Dude, the system worked. The drug mafia throw in the kitchen sink, and so pharma just relied on the courts.
Yeah. Hello and welcome to the June episode of Debunked, our no-nonsense, once-a-month healthcare news show where we have some fun too, discussing the month's healthcare news. So let's talk about the FDA. Now, generally, what do businesses want from regulators? They want stability, right? And the FDA has been actually the hallmark of instability. Let's look back a year ago, the Doge cuts. No, through no fault of the FDA, the Doge cuts removed a lot of expertise from the senior ranks of the FDA. Things were really rough. And earlier this year, there was a sense that, you know what, okay, the worst of the Doge cuts are behind us now. And so, okay, the FDA will finally calm down, things will be stable again. And voila, what happened? Marty Makary, the FDA commissioner, just 13 months into his tenure, has resigned.
Long time.
13 months. And the interesting thing about Mr. Makary is, you know, he was not like an outlier in the way RFK Jr. was. He's very much considered an expert within the conventional medical standards and sort of norms in the US, right? He was with Johns Hopkins Medicine for 22 years. I think he founded their Center for Surgical Trials and Outcomes Research, if I'm not mistaken. He was a surgical oncologist, a prolific author of papers, and a clinician as well. So, you know, he came from good stock when it comes to medicine, for lack of a better term. But what was appealing to him from the administration's perspective was that he really, really was very vocal about the very quick pace of COVID-19 vaccines, how super quick they were developed. He was not a fan of that. And he was not a fan of the vaccine mandates. So that's what was attractive about him from the administration side. And people who brought him on thought he was going to shake up, you know, and disrupt the culture at FDA. But, you know, in the business world, when we talk about disruption, it's always in positive terms, right? It is innovative disruption. But what the FDA got instead was chaotic disruption. The straw that finally broke the camel's back was that FDA recently approved the fruit-flavored vapes, God help us all. And Makary basically, reportedly, we don't know this is a fact, but reportedly he said that he couldn't go along with this decision in good conscience, and so he was resigning. But that was just part of the story. From what I understand, that there were other people and other entities not super happy with Makary. What have you heard through the grapevine? What have you read, Samir?
Well, first, I want to comment on my attire because I always get asked this. I'm wearing Grogu for my daughter, so maybe she'll watch our episodes. Zorna, this is for you.
Oh, my
The movie's coming out soon. But yes, geez, this is such malarkey.
Well, there's a movie at the FDA. I guess that's our connection to your shirt. Yeah, malarkey.
Malarkey. His name is Malarkey, right?
His name is Makary. Trust Samir, not the English major to talk alliteration. Marty Makary, Malarkey.
But you saw what I did.
I saw what I did. What you did, yeah.
All right, so 3 major reasons for the ouster.
For the ouster. Okay, so you're not
Okay.
calling it a resignation. You're saying,
Ouster.
okay, ouster.
You know, we don't want you to quit, but there's the door.
Okay, sounds
Okay.
good.
Number one, of course, White House pressure. If you do not fall in line and you do not walk the line, I don't care if it's vapes, hookahs, whatever, no matter. Okay. You're out of here, right?
Okay.
Number two, look, he pissed off biotech, pharma, everyone. I mean, he was supposed to be this pro-industry reformer, right? But he's been slow rolling and making up rules as he goes along on approvals, predictability, reversals, all these sorts of things. I mean, one of the things that he did was he cut out advisory panels on safety label changes. Right? I mean, so you're not giving people a lot of direction. It's confusing. It sounds more bureaucratic. So you're pissing off not only the pharmas, but you're also pissing off the medical advisory groups at the same time. So again, you're not making any concrete stand here, right? And then third, I mean, anti-abortion groups turned on him,
Yeah.
which was amazing because, you know, like again, given the administration that's in power, Republicans and all the like, you would think that you're bringing somebody in who's going to tout the philosophical line that this political party wants to put forth, right? Slow rolling safety reviews on, I'm going to butcher this, mifepristone
That's right.
or whatever that is.
The abortion drug,
Abortion
of course.
drug, right?
Yep.
So you're slow rolling safety reviews on that, but at the same time, you allowed the generic to be approved.
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to piss off your base right there.
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, the irony, the huge, massive irony is this is a guy who's actually stuck in the middle and he's getting pelted by rocks from both sides.
From all sides. I wouldn't even say both sides. I've heard that I've read
You know what I mean? Like
even
360 pelting.
360 pelting. All right, that's what we'll call it. I've heard or I've read that even his staff, he was not popular with his staff because he would apparently go around like, with, whiteboards and markers and just have lists of things he wants to do. So he wasn't particularly popular there. It's just strange.
It's not only strange, but it's just like, I mean, you wonder, you mentioned this, the credentials are there, right? The respect from the industry is there. I mean, is this just a power trip? You get there and you're like, dude, like, like people, we make this comment in the entrepreneurial venture world that you raise a certain amount of money or you go public or you get sold and people just change because of money.
Yeah.
This sounds to me like, did you change because you had this power label given to you? But this guy, I mean, he pulled off the, hockey playoffs are going on right now. He pulled off the Washington hat trick here.
Okay, you have to explain.
So hat trick, threes.
Hat
right?
trick, I know.
Yeah,
so
the
that you're
threes,
pissing off three different
yeah,
groups.
right?
I see what you're saying.
Pharma don't trust you. Anti-abortion grapes hate you. And even your FDA staff resents you.
Yeah,
right? So, I mean, it's basically like, he resigned, quit, walked, whatever way you want to spin it.
Yeah.
He's out.
Well, obviously, I didn't know him personally, so I don't know if he changed or not. But what I think is difficult for the industry is this instability. I mean, even before he left, I was at South by Southwest earlier this year, and there was a senior attorney, regulatory attorney, and he was talking about how he has been doing this for 33 years, and the best word for morale, and he was trying to be polite, he said, was lousy. And that was before Makary resigned. And so if you're trying to provide guidance to the industry, FDA is failing completely. So many people have left, and now again there's this leadership vacuum. So the lawyer was talking about how his clients are so frustrated because they are just aghast. There's so little guidance. There's so much confusion. So I guess, that'll continue for a little bit longer because, so many people have left and now the main character is no longer there. So we'll see what happens with the FDA.
No clarity is not a appropriate strategy.
Yeah, and especially for an industry that is so dependent on the FDA
Oh,
for
100%.
safety,
Yeah.
for outcomes. I mean,
Yeah.
not outcomes, for efficacy and all of those, clinical trials and stuff like that. And how much can AI do? And the South by Southwest panel that I was on was talking about how so many people have left the FDA and they are implementing AI tools to make
Right.
things move faster. But I don't know if that's necessarily the solution either, because you need to have some expertise even to guide the AI. Anyway,
I mean,
moving
you
on.
have to have stability at the leadership ranks, right?
Exactly,
So
exactly. Yeah, AI cannot solve for that. Moving on, now coming to what I'm calling where there's smoke. Well, I'll let you fill in all the blanks. This is tied to,
there's vape.
no, no, this is tied to stock trades.
Oh yeah.
The Government Office of Ethics did a huge report, and Becker's respected healthcare publication wrote a story on how Trump's portfolio managers have been doing trades. They're selling off or they're buying shares at a time when industry, the future of the industry in certain cases are being determined. For instance, earlier this year, in January, the Trump administration was negotiating the final reimbursement rates, the payment policies for Medicare Advantage plans. And the initial announcement was that, you know what? We are going to hold the reimbursement rate flat compared to 2026.
Yeah.
And there's,
Yeah.
there was some pushback around that. But in those weeks, while these things were being negotiated, Trump sold a lot of shares. Okay, a lot of shares in the insurance companies. All the big insurance companies that you can think of: United, Humana,
Yeah.
Molina, Centene. All these companies he was selling stock in. And then after a lot of industry comment, and again, I don't know that the two things are linked, but then there was a final decision on rates, and suddenly the prices had increased 2.48%.
Yeah.
So now MA plans were going to be reimbursed instead of flat, 2.48% more. And then
Yeah.
he bought, more. At that point, there were more shares that were bought. And similar things happened with Eli Lilly and the weight loss sort of drugs.
Yeah.
Trump has, of course, made it a signature policy of his administration to make weight loss drugs, GLP-1 drugs, easily
Yeah.
available. What you don't know, that he was also talking up these drugs and trading on these to the tune of several millions, maybe hundreds of
Yeah.
millions of dollars in terms of gains
Yeah.
of his portfolio. Obviously, Vance and others have said, this is an independent thing. Mr. Trump had nothing to do with it. But again, it just seems sus, as my Gen Z children would
Yeah.
say. Just seems very sus. Anyway, to you.
And I'll take it to our generation. This is shady.
Shady.
Shady, shady, shady. Even if this borderline passes the legal test, and I'll explain in a second, you're really walking the line here.
Yeah.
I mean, just in blunt, obvious ways. This is not even like, you're not even trying to hide this thing.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm not going to repeat all the facts that you mentioned, but I mean, look, insurance companies, convenient. Drug companies, convenient. Now, members of Congress are covered by something called the Stock Act.
Okay.
Right? Basically, it's the insider trading equivalent for the members of Congress.
Right.
Right? You can't do that. You can't use non-public information to make gains, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But you're going to love this. I didn't know this. The president and the VP are not bound by that law.
Well, because so far in our history, we've not had the need for the presidents to be covered by that.
Here's
but
the deal.
Here we are.
They do ask presidents and VPs to take their assets and put it into a
Blind
separate
trust,
blind trust or an index
Yeah.
fund or something like that. But look, there's no enforcement.
Yep.
There's never been enforcement on a sitting president for sure. Okay. So is it unethical? Damn Skippy.
Yep.
Another one from our generation. Okay. Young people there. Okay. Is it illegal? Not quite.
Not quite, because we don't
Because it's
have
not
anything.
enforceable.
Yeah.
Okay. So people are gonna. So what's gonna happen? People will complain. There's gonna be no sanctions, especially while he's in office.
Yes, of
right?
course. Yes.
Competitors will try to spin this in the midterms, but they're gonna spin it back and be like, ain't doing nothing illegal.
Yeah.
Right? There's nothing here to see. So here's my recommendation to our viewers, to you, me, all of us. tie your investment stock strategy to President Trump, and you go make billions.
Oh God.
I'm serious.
It's gonna be
I'm gonna start.
huge.
It's gonna be bigly.
Oh my God.
I'm
You're
gonna
having way
start
too
doing
much
that.
fun.
No, I'm seriously gonna start doing. I'm gonna start looking at
You're-
whatever Trump's buying. I'm buying. If he's selling, now he's doing it in the millions. I'm doing it in pennies. But it don't matter.
You're also going to find out weeks later, so that as a strategy might not work.
I don't know. AI, please help me here.
Yeah.
Go track all the Trump LLCs and assets out
Oh
there
my
that are
God.
buying stock. I'm serious. Do as your president does.
No,
You should be
please.
following your president anyway. Follow your president.
No, I mean, it's just like I said, like I thought when I read it, it just doesn't pass
I think
the
it's
smell
brilliant.
test. Doesn't pass
You
the smell
can't get
test. Well, moving on.
Ethic schmeshics.
Moving
Hey,
on.
it's not illegal.
Now, one more story tied to GLP-1 drugs, not involving stock trading. This is actually quite disturbing. This is in the Washington Post. It's really alarming. Obviously, as a culture, we are a weight-obsessed culture. And into that mix has been introduced GLP-1s, and it's been great for people that have for decades tried to lose weight and struggled with it, especially for people that have diabetes and things like that. GLP-1s are absolutely miraculous, right? But what's happening now is that because of their easy availability online, a lot of people that do not have these weight concerns are popping those pills. Shockingly, these are being consumed not only by middle schoolers, teenagers,
What?
they are also being consumed by people with anorexia and other eating disorders, which is,
Horrible.
I can't, it's just terrible for them. And so this article, looked at what's happening, and they went to talk to the GLP-1 makers. And of course, the GLP-1 makers, so this is between the patient and the doctor. There's nothing we can do. But the problem is that people are buying these off of random internet sites. I don't know how much, jurisdiction doctors have. Does every website selling GLP-1 like drugs or GLP-1 drugs have a doctor overseeing who they're prescribing it to? It's just, I thought it was very, very concerning.
Black market. I mean, this is crazy, but look, it's not just about the side effects. It's about the ecosystem, right? And look, you're absolutely right. I've even heard from people, not going to name names, but people are like, dude, I'm microdosing. People microdose GLP-1s as well. So there's a whole sort of thing going on.
Right.
I mean, look, I wouldn't be shocked if you start seeing GLP-1 parties, like Botox parties. I mean, they're like, I'm serious, right? But that's just, so look.
So wait, hang on one second. You said microdosing, but without the doctor prescribing the microdosing. They're just doing it themselves.
Yeah, they're microdosing on their own sort of
self-directed,
volition, right?
Self-directed,
so now it's easy to weaponize these things in wrong hands, as you pointed out, as the article points out, right? But it's a bigger ecosystem-driven issue. Now let's break it down a little bit, right?
Okay.
Like you asked about how does telemedicine work in this whole aspect of. So look, obviously, the first model is your legit telehealth providers, right? Like you have a medical need, you have a full telemedicine licensed clinician, right? Call, right, where they're doing intake and everything, and then that's the normal way.
Yeah.
The second group is this, they're being framed in this weight loss program grouping, if you want to call it. That's where you're being pounded with social media and marketing, and they're skirting the rules, right? So you're basically doing this asynchronous 5-minute, 10-minute video-based, right, sort of like enrollment, if you want to call it.
Right.
So there's some, I think that's an area where protocols are being gamified, but it's probably something that can be tracked, nailed down, whatever it is.
Okay.
But then there's the third group, and that's where your black market piece definitely probably comes in. It's all these unapproved, right, GLP-1 compounds, fakes, whatever. That's even more troubling because that stuff is like, you don't know what you're consuming. You don't know what you're putting in your body.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So now, I hate to say this, but the GLP-1 makers are kind of right. They're like, dude, listen, it's a whole tree, right? Like a line, right? I'm selling to the appropriate, legitimate distributor. Now, where that goes from second group to the third group to the fourth group, what am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to be in charge of all of it, right? So I'm not saying that they're 100% can't be held to certain protocols and rules, but come on. I mean, we call it the 5-figure discount. Falls off the truck, somebody picks it up, somebody does this. There's stuff going, so you can't blame them for what the third party is doing. And claiming from what I mean, look, this is the same stuff that happened with a lot of other not as I don't want to say they're not serious, but like Viagra went through the same thing.
Yeah.
Right? And now you have ads for people who are like, oh my God, why are you going to pay, $15 for a pill when you can get a generic or this compound for like, pennies on the dollar.
Right.
I mean, these ads still happen. These ads happen. I'll be watching an NBA game on ESPN, and like the fourth ad is some like generic 1-800 number Viagra dude.
Oh my. Yeah.
So they're getting like big time airtime.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I kind of, I know I always go after the pharmas, but like in this one, I'm like, they're not actually not to blame fully about this.
I just, it's
sad.
It is very sad, and I just can't.
And it's
imagine.
It's going to become a problem.
I don't know who's responsible. Would the FDA be responsible? Given what's happening at the FDA, I don't know. Anyway, just highlighting a dangerous thing.
I mean, it's an education thing. We go back to information thing.
And,
we go back to
again, not only that, it's also parents being aware of what their kids are doing.
And there's not enough data right now.
Yeah.
The harm that it could be doing on
long-term
people
side
who
effects,
are going through puberty, who have not been, like these clinical trials and tests. By the way, GLP-1 is magical, and people don't realize that the research was done for decades on this, was done on adults.
On adults, exactly.
Not done on kids.
Exactly.
So, I mean, I don't even know the efficacy around giving this to kids who are obese. Like, I don't think it's prescribed to kids who are obese because the data's not there.
Yeah.
So.
But, off-the-label use, I guess. It's just crazy. It's not off-the-label use.
Microdose parties.
It's just crazy. Anyway, and finally, on a happier news, I guess, because we can't always be Debbie Downers. Another non-Gen Z term, I guess.
No, they don't say Debbie Downers.
They don't say Debbie Downers.
You went back to your own generation.
Yes, I went back to my own generation. Yes, exactly. So, obviously, we know about the IRA, the Inflation Reduction Act. That was the first time that the Biden administration allowed, the law essentially allowed CMS to negotiate drug prices for the very first time. Yeah. Obviously, the pharma lobby and individual pharma companies were up in arms. And they have basically said that this is unconstitutional. There were several lawsuits using this unconstitutional claim or argument. These lawsuits largely failed in the lower courts, and then it was argued up to the Supreme Court. And in like late May, the Supreme Court basically said, we're not even going to hear this case.
Wow.
So I thought that was really, really interesting. That particular argument has failed. I'm sure there were other arguments that are in the lower courts already. Right. But from a constitutional perspective, or legality perspective, based on our constitution, the idea that CMS has no authority to negotiate these drugs, that has been put to rest. We'll see what other arguments are made. It has already gone through 2 cycles. Yeah. And both administrations are, somewhat holding the line. I think for under Biden, it was 10 drugs that were being negotiated. Now we're at 25. And it definitely will be expanded if Democrats get more power down the road. But this argument of it being unconstitutional has failed, and I'm actually happy about that.
Dude, the system worked.
On this one, yes.
On this one.
Yes.
The drug mafia throwing the kitchen sink. Another one of our terms, right?
Your term.
Kitchen sink.
I've never used
at the Supreme Court. Right? The drug mafia? Yeah.
I've never used
no, drug mafia and kitchen sink. Which one? Kitchen sink?
Kitchen sink I can use. Okay. No worries.
Okay.
Yeah.
Throwing it at Supreme Court and they're saying, talk to the hand. Another one from our generation. Not happening, right? But my point is, this is such a change from the past.
Yeah.
This is such a huge change from the past, right? Medicare was basically shackled and forbidden. to challenge pharma.
Not to mention that these same drugs were sold much cheaper in Europe and other parts of
Right.
the world.
But
Yeah.
they were
They were shackled.
shackled, forbidden, can't do it, and they had to, and so pharma just relied on the courts
Yeah.
to basically make it right.
Yep.
And so now I'll say the jury's not out, but for right now, take the win,
Yes.
pop some champagne, don't microdose a GLP-1.
Don't microdose.
Okay.
Without a
But
doubt.
at least you got to win. And
Yeah.
look, it's not going to be over, but honestly, it takes is one.
Mm-hmm.
One lower court, right, flips it,
Yeah.
and it's going to
We'll see.
gangbusters.
We're following some other
Right?
cases that
Yeah.
have different arguments, so we'll see. But it's still cool.
Okay. I got a joke for you.
Oh Lord.
Dad joke. Okay. So knock knock.
Who's there?
IRA.
IRA who?
Are you glad Medicare and Supreme Courts are doing their thing?
Oh my God. I mean,
I got there. Very
sort of,
painfully.
yeah, very, very painfully. Anyway, on that bad dad joke note, we will conclude this current episode. Keep writing to us at debunked@medcitynews.com. And great chatting with you, Samir, as always.
Thank you.